Hi, welcome to NAB 2017. My name is Jason Druss. I'm a product specialist at Blackmagic Design, and today we're going to be talking about some of the new features in DaVinci Resolve 14, as well as some of the features on the new Blackmagic Design mini panel for DaVinci Resolve. First thing we're going to do is take a look at the mini panel. We released these a couple months ago. We knew we always wanted to make smaller panels, but we didn't want to make smaller panels until we knew we could port the same quality from the larger panel to a smaller size. So what we did is we actually made two panels. The mini, as you see here, is $29.95, and we also have a micro for $9.95. The main difference is when you look at the mini, you can see that the line is drawn right here. The micro features all of your primary tools. In fact, the two are identical up until this point. You have your primary color tools, lift, gamma, gain, with weighted track wheels and track balls that feel excellent, just like the advanced panel. You have Y lift, Y gamma, and Y gain for our YRGB color space. That lets you separate chrominance from luminance. And then contrast, pivot, midtone detail, all of the great, amazing primary color tools in Resolve are available at your fingertips right there. Now the difference is the top part of the panel. What the mini gives you are these two 5-inch screens with 8 soft buttons and 8 soft knobs. And what this does is it gives you access to the entire software. If you are a DIT or if you work on set, then the micro might be the panel for you because it's $9.95, it's bus powered, it's super portable. But as soon as you're going to sit down and say, I want to be a colorist, I want to sit down and want to color grade an entire project in DaVinci Resolve, then you're most likely going to be more interested in the mini panel. And the way it works is that if you are aware of how the advanced panel looks, you'll know that we have creative tools across all of the knobs on top of the panel. What we did to shrink the size is we have these 15 buttons right here on the upper left-hand corner of the panel, and what that does is gives you access to every tool in the software. So I have my primaries. If I wanted to adjust my lift, gamma, and gain, add a little bit of contrast here, what I could do is add another serial node, and in my serial node, I have access to different tools here. So if I want to go into my curves, I have access to my custom curves. I can go into hue versus sat, and I can desaturate only blue, or then I could go and I could create a serial node with a power window. And this specifically, if we get out of highlight mode here, having the panel gives you the ability to adjust the size and parameter of power windows a lot easier. So if I wanted to, I could easily go to Tools, invert the power window, and then I could go ahead and make a vignette very easily. So there's a lot more to the panels, but essentially you've got your primary color tools, shuttle controls, pardon me, to get to all of the tools in the software. And then you have workflow tools right here on the right side of the panel that get you to create multiple nodes, shuffle through nodes, frames, clips, grabbing stills, playing stills, things like that. If you're familiar with Resolve, you'll find yourself at home with the panels, and the mini panel is available now in shipping for $29.95. Let's talk about DaVinci Resolve 14. We're really excited, and it's a really big year for the software. 2 years ago, we released ourselves as a nonlinear editor. Last year, we added a lot of features, and this year, probably the biggest jump we've ever had in DaVinci Resolve. We now have Fairlight audio processing engine right into Resolve in a new 5th page. We acquired Fairlight last year at IBC, and this year at this NAB 2017, we're announcing Fairlight in Resolve for the first time, and we could not be happier about it. As you'll see here, if I go to the edit page, you'll see that our previous mixers have been replaced with Fairlight's mixers, and you still have a lot of control here on the audio page, on the audio tools in the mixer in the edit page, but really it shines the most when you get over to the Fairlight page, the new 5th page we have here. So what we can do here is we can zoom into the audio clip, and we can zoom in and change the height. It's important to know that on the Fairlight page, without the Fairlight Accelerator card, you can mix up to 60 tracks at the same time. We also have sub-frame mixing now down to the sample level, which we've never had in DaVinci Resolve. It is a full-on, complete professional audio engineering tool. Within each track, you have your own 6-band parameter EQ, your own dynamics processor, and your own 3D panning. So for instance, if I have a stereo track which is playing on the left and right side, I can actually decrease or increase the spread of that stereo track, and I can pan it left and right in real time. So we're really excited about Fairlight. It's important to know that when you download the DaVinci Resolve 14 public beta, which by the way is available today, right now, as of this morning, when you download the beta, it's important to know that the Fairlight page is not yet feature complete. We really wanted to get the tools out there so users can play around with it, tell us what's working, what they'd like to see as we round out the tools over the course of the beta until the official release. So it's not feature complete, but we're really happy that you download it and give it a try. Moving on, we're going to talk about a few enhancements on the editing page. Performance has been greatly improved in DaVinci Resolve 14. We have up to 10 times faster performance depending on the computer you have, and that's because we found new ways to make a new video engine that accelerates CPU along with GPU performance. So when it comes to editing H.264 media, scrubbing through that stuff in real time, especially in 4K, you'll find much better time in that in DaVinci Resolve 14. In fact, on Apple, on the Mac platform, we now have multi-pass encoding on H.264, which is new for Resolve 14. We also have Metal processing on Mac now. So if you want to use Metal on Mac for your GPU processing, you can absolutely do that. And also, I'm just going to take a moment and talk about our latency. Anyone that's edited in Resolve knows that while our editing tools are amazing, the JKL, there was always a little a bit of latency between, but we've completely eliminated it. I'm going to go ahead and press JKL here and playback. It's immediate. And if you take a look at the playhead, and you'll especially be able to see this at home when you download the beta, just looking at the playhead, looking at the refresh rate, it's instantaneous. The audio playback, everything about it. And even when I zoom in here and I do a few trims, it's instantaneous. It's just a lot faster, way better performance. We can pop out bins into their own windows now. We can directly set in and out points from within thumbnails in the media pool. I'll set, pardon me. Sorry, editing with one hand here. I'll put an in point right there, and then an out point right there, and I can drag and drop that right into the timeline. In addition to that, we have 21 new Resolve FX on the color page. And we're really excited about this because it really opens the doors to how editors and colorists can work to create better effects for their films and videos. It's also important to know that these new Resolve effects, as well as all the Resolve effects we made last year, in addition to that, all of your open effects essentially, are now available in the effects library on the edit page. So what that means is that if you want to apply these effects without going to the color page, you can easily do that now right here on the edit page. When we do go to the color page though, we're going to go ahead, we're going to do a couple effects real quick. Let's see this clip right here. I'm going to use my new effects palette mode right here, which is a large full screen way to apply effects. I can open my node tree and make that smaller. I'm going to go ahead and use my personal favorite new tool in Resolve 14, which is the warper. When I apply the warper, it allows me to make a few points throughout the shot. I'm going to add 3 right here, and then I'm going to add 3 right here. And it's going to allow me to change the shape of my shot and actually warp the video. Just like that. So when I go ahead and play back, let's play back. We'll disable the node. Before, after. So that's one of my favorite new Resolve effects. The other one I'm going to show you guys is a tool we call Face Refinement. Now what we're going to do is, let's get back to our effects palette. Let's open up our node tree. Let's find Face Refinement. So when you're doing beauty work in Resolve, you're typically going to do, more than one power window. Usually you're going to do multiple power windows. What Face Refinement allows us to do is analyze the entire shot for you and make all of your power windows in advance for you. So once the shot is analyzed, we'll be able to go ahead, and we're going to start with, by the way, that's our mask that Resolve made, did a pretty good job. We're going to get rid of all of our detail. Face Refinement not only allows you to add in more detail, it allows you to choose the size of the detail you add in. So you can make extremely nuanced decisions in terms of the amount of detail you want to retain in your shot. Now, most colorists are used to using mid-tone detail for a tool like this, but Face Refinement, detail and detail size allows you to make better decisions. Not only that, eye, lip, blush, forehead, cheek, and chin retouching is now available. So not only can I brighten the subject's eyes, I can actually remove eye bags. You can make this tool as drastic or as nuanced as you want, because colorists in DaVinci Resolve have to have very nuanced, careful, subtle control over every parameter of the software, and we have not forgotten about that with the new Resolve effects. But what we've just done right now is taken about, we've taken years off of the subject's face. So those are a few of the new color tools. The final tools I want to talk about while we have you for a few minutes are collaboration tools. Now, a lot of you know that we've had collaboration tools in Resolve for years. We were one of the first programs to have really in-depth collaboration tools. And they existed in terms of an editor owning a project, and you had a colorist and an assistant, and the assistant and colorist could do things that work around the editor or the owner of the project. Now, we've scrapped that, written our new collaboration tools completely from scratch, and any user can do anything in the software. We have first come, first served bin and time locking. So if you have access to a bin and you're working on a timeline, your colleague cannot edit that timeline at the same time. They have to duplicate it and work on a secondary duplicate timeline. We have locking and refresh icons to let you know that someone else is on a timeline or a bin, or that there's the ability to refresh to see the work that someone else has done. We have a new live chat feature as well, so that you guys can send each other notes. And this is really important for a few reasons. Since our collaboration tools are not in the cloud or not online, they're totally offline and isolated. Because a lot of the higher end facilities are not allowed to be connected to the internet because of the sensitivity of the material that they're working on. So by having everything offline and having a live group chat feature where everyone can talk to each other at the same time is really important. It makes things more affordable, faster, and easier. The cool thing about the timeline comparison tool is that you don't have to actually be in collaboration mode to use it. I'm just going to go ahead and find my timelines real quick. I have Age of Airplanes demo right here, which I have activated. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate that demo. Duplicate timeline. I'm going to call it copy, and in the copy I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to delete one clip, I'm going to do a trim edit, I'm going to do a roll over here, and I'm going to do a ripple right here. So those are the few changes I've made. I made 3 changes throughout the timeline, really easy to see. So we're going to open up the original timeline, and whether I'm in collaboration mode or whether I'm just someone that has 2 versions of a timeline and I want to compare the differences to see the discrepancies between those timelines, I'll click on the timeline I want to compare to, and then I'll simply right click and click compare with current timeline. And when I do that, this new prompt comes up. The timeline on top is shown in my source viewer, and the timeline on the bottom is shown in my timeline viewer. So I can actually view the discrepancies in a difference index. I can pop back and forth between them, and then I can choose to accept changes or undo the changes that I've made. So that's the timeline comparison tool that works in collaboration mode or outside of collaboration mode. So we've really only scratched the surface of all the tools in here. There are lots of changes in DaVinci Resolve 14 across performance, the new Fairlight page, the new Fairlight audio engine, the new collaboration tools, the new Resolve effects, all 21 of them, a lot of new editing features, small editing features that make your life a lot easier. So whether you're an assistant, an editor, a colorist, or an audio mixer, everyone can work in Resolve at the same time on the same project seamlessly without effort, without any huge technical hurdles to overcome. One more update about Ultimate 11. We've drastically dropped the price of Ultimate 11. It used to be $24,995, almost $25,000, and we've reduced the price to $9,995. So you could buy 3 Ultimate 11s for what used to be almost the cost of 1, which is really great. So if you want to do something like a simple virtual set, you could have 1 Ultimate 11 for each camera, lock them off for each camera, and do virtual sets, which is really great. The other big price reduction is for DaVinci Resolve 14 Studio. DaVinci Resolve Studio used to be $995. We've greatly reduced the price, and now it's only $299. So Ultimate 11 and DaVinci Resolve 14, they're all available at our resellers. And you can actually go to our website, blackmagicdesign.com, and you can download the public beta for DaVinci Resolve 14 that's available right now on our website.